Violet and I went on an adventure on Friday and Saturday.
Mhm.
And we went and saw some really interesting properties. Property number one, the inside of the house, holy shit, pure opulence, like really cool aesthetic, would not live there.
It was like a movie star house.
It was a movie star house. Like all of the
like,
cabinets had like these rotating doors at different angles. It was
there was
wild.
like a giant wine cellar. Like it was all glass, like you would see in a restaurant, like at Earl's or something in their kitchen. It was just, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful house. Not the
Um,
right spot though.
not the right spot at all. Not the right spot. The second place we went to, we were pretty sure we were going to die because
Trying to get down there.
the driveway into it, you guys, was like only maybe a foot wider than, so we have a Toyota 4Runner on either side, and it was like sheer ice almost all the way down, and it was like slipping.
Windy down a mountain. So
Down
there
a
was
mountain,
like
yeah.
a drop off on the other side, and we were
Yeah.
like the whole vehicle was sliding.
But then you get to the bottom and you have your own lake, and there's like an 80-foot waterfall, and it was just so pretty.
It was like a paradise down there.
It was a paradise. But when we tapped into that land, it wants a very specific person. It doesn't want lots of persons. It wants to hold its own vortex that's very much a natural sanctuary and keeps it very pure. And it was like 320 acres. So I did discover that that's not really what I want to hold.
Yeah, and
too much.
320 acres of like a lot of hills and rocks, and
Yes.
there's lots of stuff there, but it, for the amount of space there wasn't a whole lot of flat area.
You couldn't do much with it besides what was already there. But really cool spot. I'm glad we went. And the lady who is the caretaker of that land, she's like 80 something and has the most beautiful gardens and like just a really cool experience. So that was off our list. That was a no. And so I want to talk about this topic of like, sometimes we start questioning about if our manifestations are actually arriving, because sometimes they show up in packages that we didn't actually think they would come in. Yeah. And we've been talking about this retreat center idea for a couple of years. Like, this is not a new thing. And my original vision for it is very different than what we saw on Saturday. My original vision for it is like putting up all these eco domes, building like these cool earth ships, like having it very off grid, having like a cool central meeting zone, all this stuff. And we've been looking for a while and cannot find a property so far that can support that kind of thing. And secondly, any of the properties that could, we would already be tapped out budget wise and not able to build up for a long time. So that doesn't really make sense, because I don't really want to be land poor and having to wait or feeling like I have to hustle to create something. Like, that just doesn't feel good.
Yeah. So we've been looking for kind of a unicorn, but we also knew that it's like, this whole time we know it's possible. And we're okay with waiting. So that's the other thing. It's like, we're going to keep looking, but we're not trying to be so specific about like, it has to come within the next 6 months or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
So
the other thing was too, though, I was getting very specific about how I wanted this property to look.
Oh yeah. I've had that too, because I've had different visions of it. And I'm like, I'm trying to recall that, so I'm not putting us into a box that isn't actually maybe existing.
Yeah. And I think we do that all the time. It's like, those of you guys that are in the dating world, I want this type of person who likes these type of things, and this is how they behave, and this is the color of their hair, and this is what their eyes look like, or I want this exact vehicle, and this is what it's going to have, right? And sometimes we get so specific that what we actually need, or what is actually going to support us, doesn't even have a space to show up, because we've gotten so limited in our thinking and our ability to receive.
Yeah, it's that balance of like specificity, so that you are actually attracting the things you actually want, like asking for what you do want, without pigeonholing it so far that nothing can ever make you happy in that realm anyway.
Exactly. So for a little while, actually, since before I moved to BC, this property has been for sale. My realtor had sent it to me last year, and I looked at it and I was like, no. That's not the one. But I've been going back and looking at it a couple of times because it pops up on the MLS. And I was like, let's just go look at it for shits and giggles, you know, like, it's still there. So let's just take a peek, see what happens, and whatever.
look at it. Like it's not even that far from where it's like an
No,
hour drive.
it was only an hour drive. And my favorite grocery store is literally a kilometer down the road. So whatever, it's great. Go grocery shopping, go for a drive. We went to this property and Violet and I and Steve and I were just like, whoa, oh, my eyes are getting emotional.
Yeah.
Not tears, they're emotions. We went to this property and we we're like, whoa, this is interesting. Yeah. Because it looks nothing like what we considered. We could move in tomorrow and I could run my first retreat and bring you guys out a week later.
Right away. Like it's move-in ready. I mean, obviously there's areas I'm like, you would want to probably paint this, but it's finished. It's fine.
Yeah. And it's rock solid. I mean, there's an indoor pool. That's cool beans. Yeah. There's room for my horses to come home. Anyways, oh yeah, the gardens are beautiful. So we were walking through this property and Violet and I just keep looking at each other and we're like we had no words to really describe it at the time, because it was like this container that could be the home hub for Healers Rising and all of our trainings was like handed to us on this silver platter. Like you could literally just bring you all into the vortex and away we go.
Yeah. And it's in an area that I've always wanted to kind of live in. It has lake views and mountain views and like I was just like in awe. It's like this, I could see so much potential as we were walking through the place. It's like all these possibilities were just opening up.
It probably helped that it smelled like the Fairmont Banff Springs spa.
And they had like spa music playing through the whole place.
That probably won us over.
It definitely set the mood.
It set the tone. And what's interesting is the conversation my husband and I have been having is my vision hasn't fit his needs, and his needs have never fit my vision. And all of a sudden they're both converging in this one property. And so now here's trigger number 3. I am like in that liminal space of holy shit.
Yeah, I actually manifested this thing.
I manifested this thing and it's right here. And now I have to take action if I'm actually going to receive it, to the tune of $2.7 million. Who has that? I'll find it. Somebody will give it to me.
Fear and all the other things that come up with that.
Right.
Like you left with like a massive headache.
Oh, I had to go have a bath. I was grounding. I was vortexing. My whole being was like sliding and changing timelines because I had to readjust my vision. I had to collapse what I previously saw. I had to start asking this property, like, could you hold what we want to hold? And it's like, yeah. You guys, the owner who's already there before they built it, she dug in a crystal protection line around the whole property. Like, she's magical AF. We had so much fun talking to her. Like I would lovingly have her over multiple times, sit and have tea with her. She's a reflexologist. She meditates. She has more crystals than I do.
Yeah. And she's like, I'm not even worried. The place will go at the right time to the right person. I just know the universe is going to handle it. And I'm just having fun the whole time while I'm waiting. And I'm like, you're amazing.
There are people. What the heck?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my third trigger of this weekend is, holy crap, my manifestation actually arrived and I can slide timelines. And so what it's doing, and what I wanted to chat about with all of you, is that sometimes when those big leaps arrive, it presses us even more instead of feeling expansive at first. Because the expansion can feel like a box initially, where we just start going like, oh my God. And we come down into that cocoon space where we have to go really deep internally and start generating that energy and shuffling out all the things that don't match before we emerge. All of the death programming we have, like, I don't know if I'm enough. Can I afford this? Does this make financial sense? Like, what's the worst case scenarios? All of that starts running through your head. That was my math yesterday, as I was like worst case scenarioing everything. And I was like, well, if it shit the bed tomorrow and, everything collapsed, like, would we be okay here for a period of time? And, for me, the answer is yes. Like, I couldn't find a con list, which is a problem. because nothing was feeding my,
proving the reasons why you can't do the thing. Even though
that's what I'm trying to say.
Big and scary and like, holy shit.
Yeah. So then I did what all logical people do. And I messaged a friend of mine who has an amazing interior design and muralist company. She's actually back and forth Saskatchewan.
Is she the one that painted
my office
and
and the downstairs and the door? Yeah. I messaged her. I was like, so how hard would I have to work to convince you to come spend like 2 weeks out in the Okanagan and help me do over this entire place so that it is ready to hold our space? And she's like, not, when are we doing it? And I was like, shit, you were supposed to agree. I was like, you were supposed to make this hard. So I had another reason to say no and be like, it's going to be so much work.
So funny. We manifest the things we want, and then we look for all the reasons and the proof that we can't have it.
Right. So now today I'm sitting here and I feel very like in that vulnerable space of like, hey, there's literally nothing in my way. I have the down payment. Our finances match what we need to do. My house has gone up $200,000 in value since I moved here 7 months ago. Like, we can do it.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah. And it's closer to me too, like where I live. It's like a 20-minute drive from my house instead of like an hour and 15 minutes where you live right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can start the animal communication and decodes program for animals out there
right away.
You
have enough space in that, like, because it's got a whole like lounge area, workshop space, rooms, like separate rooms for people. We could do a decodes workshop right away for the people that are in that need to get their workshop done in the space.
Yeah. So, I mean, today I'm going to put in an offer, but I'm putting in, I didn't even tell Violet this yet, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to put in the offer, and I'm writing the owner of the place a little letter to go in with the offer, because I can feel in her heart there's a deep level of sadness, but also gratitude to the space she's in. And I want to do this right energetically by her and by the land, because that place has just been built from the ground up with so much love, care, attention, and intentionality that I know she is going to be so thrilled, if it passes over to us. And you guys, those of you guys that have been in real estate before, that not always everything pans out, but I'm willing to take the next step and say yes to this manifestation, so that if it is this, we follow through.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
And if it's not this, the next best thing has room to arrive now.
Yeah, either way. Like, either way, if it falls through, there'll be a moment of disappointment, but also like, okay, so what else is possible? It's fine, right? It's the following through that is key, because that's what opens us up to the thing that we're actually wanting.
100%.